after that, we're going to have group 4, no, doing their presentation. Great. Remember, the suggestion is that you do, I mean, about 25 minutes. That would be perfect. 25 to 30 minutes tops, so we can do all 4 groups and hopefully have some time for maybe some reflections or okay. Don't take too much time on, I mean, reading stuff that is written in the slides. No, rather, I mean, instead try and explain things from your experience, from the concepts in the book, and don't just read everything that is in the slides, no, because the stuff that you, I mean, the things that are in the book are already in the book, so we can read them any time, no? So what we need is the explanations from with your own ideas, no, paraphrasing with your own words. Okay. Yeah. So Milena, it's your turn now.
Yeah, thank you, Prof.
Thank you.
But I don't know if the host can let me
Yeah.
share the screen, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Avi is the host, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
You should be able to share your screen.
I'm see my screen right now.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So, well, I'm going to explain you the part of the assessment task development. So I'm going just to explain you a brief example of this. Okay. So the first step that we need to follow to create a task is to select a development of assessment task. So it means that we are going to give a short description level for the, give me a moment please, for the target language use. So in this case, we can select, for example, the task of reading a test and filling in gap sentences, and other examples like listen to the dialogue and complete it, something like that. Okay, the second part of this is that we need to consider the areas of language ability, the TLU task engages. So for example, each task is going to have a language ability. So in this case, we are going to consider the comprehension of cohesion and coherence in reading, because we are going to read a text. In the case that we want to make like do like listening activity, we can consider the comprehension of the dialogue of the audio that we are going to listen. Okay, the step 2 that we need to consider when we are doing a task is the description of the TLU task. So in the description, we are going to describe the activities and procedures that we are going to follow. So as we can see in the example, for example, the teacher is going to explain the reading activity to the class. Then students are going to work individually. Students are giving a text with 5 sentences gaps and list of 7 number sentences from which they choose 5 sentences that best fit in the gaps in the paragraph. Students then read the test. The teacher and students discuss the answers in class, and students revise their answers as needed. So as you can see here, we are going to describe the process that the students and the teacher are going to follow in order to perform the class. So for example, when we are making the listening activity, so we can say that the teacher explains the listening activity to the class. And for example, I can change that students, I want to that my students are going to work in pairs, so I can describe that. And also I can describe that I'm going to give the instruction to my students. So I'm going to explain the instruction that I'm going to give my students. For example, students are going to have 5 minutes to listen a dialogue, and then they are going to complete in a piece of paper, something like that. And as you can see here, we have a chart, and that is the task characteristics of the TLU task. So, for example, in the first part, we had the first step that I explained you before, that we are going to select the ability that we want to work. So in this case, we are going to work reading, filling in gap sentences. Then we are going to describe the areas of language ability. And in this case is the comprehension and cohesion and coherence in reading. Here we are going to describe the task characteristics. So as we know, in this setting, we have to describe the circumstances, in this case, the physical circumstances. So physical circumstances refers to in the way that the classroom is going to be, the teacher in which part of the classroom is going to be, and the students too. The participants we are going to describe is that in this case are going to be the teacher and the students. And the time of the task. So the time, it depends on the activity that the teacher is going to plan. Sorry. Here we have the input. So in input, we have also the form, and we have to consider that in the form, we have to consider that we have the oral and visual one. So in the oral, we are going to describe we are going to make a brief description of the task. So in this case, we are going to write like the teacher's description of the task, questions, comments, something like that. And visual, in this case, it depends with the materials that we are working. So in this case, that students are going to read something, so we are going to describe like reading with text with 5 gaps, 7 sentences. But we are going just to describe something briefly. In the language, we are going to describe also the language that we are going to work, in this case, English. And we need to add the length. So in the length, we have also that we need to consider if the length is going to be oral or visual. And the topical content, it depends on in the name of the reading that they are going to work. In expected response, we also have form, language, and topical content. So inform is the same as the input. So we have visual or maybe oral. In this case, we are going to work with visual because students are going to read a text. In language, well, in this case, we have non-language because we described it before. And the length, it depends on the length that you are going to give the activity. Okay, and the topical content is the same, the reading that students are going to read. And here we have the reading that students that we had in example in the textbook. So it was related to Marilyn Monroe life. So as you can see here, we have the reading, and students are going to read all the text and they are going to fill the text. And that's all, teacher. Thank you for all your attention.
Great. Sorry, I was speaking but I didn't realize that my microphone was off. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you. Yeah, thank you, Milena. I was telling Milena that it was okay, and then I was talking about group 4. I understand that group 4 has example number 4, no? I guess, well. And so I'd like to know who is in group 4, what example do you have, and get ready, no, for your presentation. Okay, so group 4, are you ready? Are you guys ready? Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, prof.
Yes, prof. Yeah.
Yes, great, great. Okay. So I understand group 4 is getting ready, no? Yes? Okay. So we have Eduardo, Anita, Diego. Cruz and Anita. Okay. Example 4, listening, no? Okay, so who's the first speaker in this presentation?
Professor, group number 4 is consists of Guamán De La Cruz Eduardo, Chachalo, and Monar Diego.
Chichala Diana.
Mhm.
And who was the last one?
Monar Diego.
Diego, Monar Diego. Yeah, great. Thank you. I got your names. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for
Good afternoon.
technical issues.
Delay? No,
we just had.
no problem.
Okay, so we are group number 4, and we're gonna present the example number 4, which is listening,
Yes.
answering questions about free time activities in teens, intermediate levels.
Intermediate level. Great.
So the members of this group are Chachalo Diana, De La Cruz Eduardo, Guamán Ana, and Monar Diego. Okay.
Great. And you are Eduardo?
Eduardo De La
Eduardo,
Cruz, yeah.
no? Yes. Yeah.
So next
The other
slide.
guy is Diego.
Okay, so first we have a brief overview of the assessment. In this case, I'm going to present you the setting for this example. And it says a teacher in a ESL or EFL classroom in a secondary school needs to develop a classroom assessment for his intermediate level students. This assessment will be used for one purpose. He wants to make sure that the students who pass the grade are prepared for instruction at the next level. In order to do this, the teacher will use the results of this assessment along with other assessments given during the course of the school year to make summative decision about which students will pass to the next grade. The assessment will be based on a unit of instruction in the course, and this is one task from the assessment in which students listen to a conversation about free time activities and answer some questions. Now, knowing the setting, we can have some information for this example. So in this case, the test takers are going to be the students. The age group in this case are teenagers. The level of the language ability is intermediate. The language, the target language is ESL or EFL, English as a second language or English as a foreign language.
As a foreign language.
Yeah. Language use activity is the comprehension of specific details during the listening, and intended uses is in order to make some summative decisions. Next slide. Yeah. So first we have the intended consequences for this example. Okay, so yeah, we have the intended consequences, and these are students who have mastered the learning objectives of the entire term will benefit by receiving appropriate instruction at the next level. And students who have not mastered the learning objectives of the entire term will benefit by receiving appropriate instruction at the same level. Now, the intended stakeholders, remember that stakeholders are people who is going to be affected by the assessment. In this case, are students and the teachers in the next level and teachers in the current level for the second intended consequence. If you see the table in the ones who are down, these are sorry. These are other possible consequences and stakeholders who might be affected by this assessment. In this case, we can say that teachers will be able to teach students who are prepared for their level, and ESL or EFL teachers in the current level, and ESL teachers in the next level. Next slide, please.
Yes.
Yeah, we have some intended decisions. And in this case, we're gonna see that these intended decisions are summative and are high stakes. These decisions are summative because we're gonna grade our students. We're not. It is not about just giving them or providing them some feedback, but giving them a grade.
Feedback.
Right? So we will be able to know which of them are gonna pass to the next level. And these decisions are also high stakes because these decisions are very important for students. Remember that if a student got a low grade, he's not gonna be passing to the next level.
They won't be able to pass. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So what are the decisions to be made? In this case, the teacher who is gonna make this decision, decide which students pass to the next grade, according to the scores from this assessment, will count as part of the student's total grade for the term. When these decisions are gonna be made at the end of the school term, and who are gonna be affected by the decisions, the students and teachers mainly. And on second instance, we can say that maybe future teachers, school administrators, school parents, and guardians. What?
Yes, go on, go on.
Yeah, that's all the first part.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, who's the next, our next speaker?
Yes, Prof. Hey, good afternoon. My
Okay,
name
great.
is Anna
Good
Guaman.
afternoon.
Sorry, I have
Anita?
some problems with the internet.
Okay, don't worry.
So now we have the claim 3 with its intended interpretations. So intended interpretations, it refers to the understanding of how the students learn to arrive at on the basis of the assessment records. So for this, it's important to know that with intended interpretations, we can make the decisions mentioned before. So
Yes.
for that, we take into account relevance and sufficiency. The first, how useful is the information that we have, and sufficiency if this information is enough to make these decisions. So
Yes.
for this, in this example, the skill that will be assessed is listening. So the student's ability is to comprehend the specific details. And so with this example, the information is relevant to make the decisions, but it's not enough. So it's important to information with the other assessments that that would be done during the whole course or do these decisions. And when we talk intended interpretations, we need into account meaningfulness, generalizability, and impartiality. So with this example, the information that we get, it's meaningful because it is according with the content of the lesson, in this case of the unit, which is about free time activities. It is generalizable because and impartial because the same questions that will these questions will be for all the students. So there are no here there's no errors with how they will be assessed. So now we have a claim 4 about the assessment records. So here about assessment records is about for this how the example is for summative decisions. It's important to know that we need to use scores. So we need to take into account a consistency in the procedures and in the task. So Here we have
Yes.
some possible inconsistencies in scores. The first is in administration,
Okay.
about the times or days that will be done this activity about listening, about the task, the different questions that will be mentioned in the activity, and how students' performance are scored. In this case, scoring K will be used. So with this, for this is important to make how it works to one student to the next. So according to the example, the listening assessment is consistent in times and days, and also with groups of students. And the performance with the score are consistent because the teacher prepares to make the students do well the activity, and all have the same opportunities. So it will be for this part. And we have also the possible backing for these inconsistencies. In the administration, the possible backing is the documentation of the procedures that will
Sorry, I can't hear you. I don't know if it's my internet now.
No problem.
No.
No. Can you guys hear? Can you hear me?
Yes, we'll continue.
Yeah. So something happened with Anita's internet then.
Maybe can you see my screen?
Not yet.
No. Okay.
Not yet, Anita.
Okay, bro. Give me a minute, please.
Okay, sure.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes. Now I can see.
Okay. Well, in the administration, it's important to teachers take notes about how it works for the different students in different classes, different times. The other can you see my screen?
Yes. Now, yes. Yeah, I can see the screen, but before something happened, I couldn't hear your voice.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello.
Okay. Sorry, prof. Some problems with the internet. So.
Okay, no problem. No, that's okay. That's okay. It happens. Don't worry.
Okay. So, okay. From the questions, it's important to make some specifications in the activity, maybe for some problems with the length of complexity, because not all the students have the same.
Yes. The same level of What happened? Again, the problems with internet connection?
I think so, yes.
Yeah. Maybe it's because of the weather, no? Because I had the same problem the other day because it was raining very hard, and so I lost a signal for a moment. The same happened to a couple of my students. What about the next person in the group? Maybe if we can go on with the presentation, maybe we can leave this first presentation for the, I mean, for later. No, Anita, maybe you can finish that part later and we can go on to the next section of the presentation. How about Diana Chachalo or Diego Monar? Maybe if you can,
Yes, teacher. Good
if you can
afternoon.
hear me. Yes. Good
Yes,
afternoon.
I have
Diego.
the
Hello, Diego.
I have the next section, but I don't have the slides.
The
because-
slides. Yeah. Somebody has to share the
Yes,
slides. No.
I don't have the slides.
What is the next section about?
It's about the task development.
Task development. And do you remember what page it was? Maybe Gabby can help us with that. If I don't know, Abby, if you have maybe this section in, I mean, the photos that I sent you the other day.
It's 203.
203.
Yes, teacher.
Yeah, let's see. Abby, maybe do you happen to have those
Let me see.
those photos?
Yes.
200. No. Just in case, maybe the photos at least can help Diego remember and also point at the examples there or something maybe. Maybe the lesson now that we the lesson that comes from all this is that maybe for our next presentation, maybe everybody should have a copy of the presentation because it could happen that the one holding the documents has problems with the internet and then he's not able to share.
Yes, teacher. I'm sorry
Yeah.
for that.
No, that's okay. No. It never occurred to me that it could happen, but you see now it happened. But it's easy now because you can share this with WhatsApp. So you get it in your WhatsApp and you can share it from the cell phone, no? Yeah, but now, but if the problem is bigger, like for example, losing entirely the connection and not being able to use your cell phone or anything, then you're lost, no? Because no one can help you then. Great, but hopefully Abby has that part of the document.
Yes, I'm looking for that page.
Thank you very much, Abby. You are our only and last hope.
It was a 100.
200 something, he said. Diego, what number was it? What page was it?
Well, what is the page?
Diego, what page, what was it?
It was
Because it's example
203.
What?
203.
Ah,
203. It's example number 4, no? I have my book here.
Can you see my
Let me
screen?
see, 204. Yes, we can see now. Assessment task development.
In
Yes.
this moment, I'm going to share my own slide because I need.
Yeah, great. Okay, great.
Anita has
Yeah.
problem with her internet.
Yeah. Yeah, example 4 begins on page 200, and then your section, Diego, yes, is on page 203, assessment task development. Page 203, then 4, 5. Uh-huh. For those who have the book, no, if you want to follow in the book also.
Yes.
Yeah, great.
So as you can see, I'm going to explain you step 1 and step 2. So in step 1, we have target language use task selected for development of assessment tasks. So in this case, we have the first one, TLU task, that in this case, we are going to use listening, but as you can see, we have 4 skills, for example, reading, writing, speaking, and listening. But in this example, we are going to use listening and answering questions. The second step is areas of language ability, the target language use task engage. So we have comprehension of specific details in listening. As you can see in this section, there is a brief explanation